Sales, the S word, it's a bad word to most lawyers. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to talk about sales, but yet sales is how we get clients. Sales is how we turn a prospective client into a current client. And unfortunately, I see many lawyers who struggle with sales because they're trying to sell the wrong thing. They're not selling what the client wants. They're selling what they think that they're selling, and what they think that they're selling is time. The bad news is you can't sell time. And even if you could, clients aren't buying time. What are clients buying? Well, we'll talk about it here in this episode. I'm Brad Miller, and this podcast will help you transform your law practice through deliberate design, core business competency, mental mastery, and powerful positioning so that you can have a practice that gives you the life you want, not a life that is the mercy of your practice. If you want to stop struggling, spend more time with your family, live a life of abundance, and make a difference in the lives of your clients, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to the New Modern Lawyer Podcast. All right, so this is probably going to be a little shorter of an episode, but there's something that I've seen a mistake that I've seen a lot of lawyers make when it comes to marketing their practices and when it comes to selling their services to clients, and I wanted to address that and talk about that here today, in case maybe you are kind of guilty of doing this. If you go and talk to many lawyers and you ask them, what is it that you sell? Probably 70 to 80% of the time, the response that you're going to get is, oh, I sell my time. You probably heard of the Abraham Lincoln quote to that effect. That says that a lawyer's time and advice are his stock and trade. In fact, I know of some lawyers who have this phrase posted in their office. And so that whenever clients come to work with them for a consultation or a meeting, they see this fact that there's time. And the lawyers talk about how the fact that they are billing, that what they're selling is their time, the time that they are giving to the client. In fact, an entire business model, the whole way that lawyers, law firms bill their clients is based around this time, the concept of selling time. It's hourly billing, where we're saying that we are going to charge you X amount of money for an hour of time, and every hour of time that we sell you, it's going to be at a certain price. $200 an hour, $1,000, whatever that price may be, and the whole hourly billing model is based around that kind of idea of selling time. The problem with this is you can't sell time. You can't sell time. You can't hoard time. You can't save it up like you could other resources like water or something like baseball cards. You can't save up, hoard time as something to sell. You also can't trade time. There are no markets out there where you can go and you can offer your time in exchange for the time of someone else. The idea of time as something that can be sold is a fallacy. It is a incorrect, it is a wrong model way of looking at it. Time is actually a constant constraint. Time flows. There is nothing that you can do as an individual to stop time, to start time, to go back in time, to do anything else. Time marches on without your input in it. Some people might say, well, time is an asset. Time is something that this is something that I can sell, that this is, again, a physical or something that clients want. The definition of an asset is some resource with economic value that a person owns or controls with the expectation it'll provide future benefit. Well, definitely, I could maybe you could make an argument for a future benefit, but you can't own, you can't control time. Time again is just a constant. It moves, it flows, and there's nothing you can do for that. Other people may say, well, time is a cost, and so when we charge for time, we're really just trying to recoup that cost. Well, the definition of a cost is an expenditure required to produce or sell a product, a service, or do something to be able to sell an asset. You can't expend time in the sense of money. It's not the same thing. If you are trying to sell a widget, it's going to cost you some amount of money for the parts for that widget. It's going to cost you money for the equipment that you'd use to produce the widget, for the salaries, the wages, the benefits, for the people who are working and actually building the widget, for the people who are selling the widget, for the technology, all these things that go into building and selling a widget. All those monetary expenses are costs to building the widget. Time is not a cost. There is no place on your balance sheet, on any of your financial records, where you list down time under the expense column. You have all the monetary costs, but you don't have time, because time isn't a cost. So again, I'll say it again, and hopefully, at some point, this kind of, it makes sense, but you cannot sell time. So stop trying to sell time. Okay? Now, what you're probably trying to do is you're not really trying to sell time. And I think you probably understand that, I can't actually physically sell a piece of time. What you're really trying to do is sell the work that you perform during that time. Maybe it is research that you do. Maybe it is drafting a document, or appearing in court, or phone calls, emails, meetings, whatever it might be. It's really that work that you're doing in that time period that you're trying to sell. You're saying that I performed services by your behalf for X amount of time, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it might be. And that is really what you're trying to sell. So the irony here is that as lawyers, we understand how important words are, and that the meaning of words is very critical. It can make a difference in how something turns out one way or the other. But yet, when it comes to our marketing and when it comes to our business and how we run our practices, we're kind of lazy with that. We talk about, this time that we're selling, but that's not it at all. We're not trying to sell time. If you're doing hourly billing, what you're doing is selling the work that you do during that time. So if that's what you're doing, be clear about that fact. Don't tell someone that you're selling time. Now, the second problem is the fact that clients aren't looking to buy time. They're not, whether it is, the idea of some time, something you can sell, or even the fact that, you're doing such, a certain quantity of work in that time. That's not what they're looking to buy. A client does not care how long it takes you to do a task. In fact, most clients don't really care what task you do on their behalf. The only instance where time actually comes into play, and that the only thing they care about when it comes to time, is how quickly you can resolve their issue. If you can resolve their case in a matter of weeks, that's much more preferable, and that's much more valuable to a client than if it's going to take months or years to resolve an issue. So that's really the only time that clients care about, is how long is it going to take till I get my result. That's looking at the outcome, the outputs, as opposed to inputs. When you are trying to say, I'm selling X amount of hours of my service, of my work, that is focusing on the inputs. And clients don't care about inputs. Clients only care about outputs. Clients only want to buy a solution. There's a quote from the Harvard Business School professor, Theodore Levitt, who says that people don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole. And if you think about that, that's really true. You don't go to the hardware store or, Home Depot's or Lowe's or wherever you do and you buy your tools. You don't go because, you know what, I'm in the mood to buy a drill today. No, you buy it because you want to put a hole in something, and the drill is merely the tool to get that hole for you. It's the same thing with clients and legal services. Clients don't want to buy a lawyer. They don't want to buy legal services. Lawyers are merely tools for what they really want, which is a solution to their legal problem, whatever that might be. Whether it is their spouse wants to divorce them, they've been accused of a crime, they need a contract drafted, whatever it might be. It's the solution that they want, not the drill. Not the work that you were doing. They don't care. If you think of it another way, clients don't come to you, and let's say that you do business law like I do. Clients don't come to me and say, Brad, I'm looking to buy a contract. I think that a contract would be a really good thing to have. I find a lot of value in contracts, and that little piece of paper, I'd like to have one. Can you give me one? No, that's crazy, right? People don't, clients don't go to lawyers. They don't come to me saying that they want to buy a contract. What they want is they want the deal behind that contract. If they're selling their business, for instance, they want the deal of, I want my business to be sold, and I want the money that I'm going to be getting, and to be able to turn over the keys to the business to the new owner or whatever, and the confidence that they're going to get paid and that both sides are going to carry out their promises in the deal. That's really what the client's coming to me for. That solution, the peace of mind that they're going to get knowing things are going to be taken care of. Not the piece of paper that's the contract. And so this is something to really think about when it comes to your marketing, is how you market yourself as a firm and your services and things like that you offer based on what it is that clients are actually buying. What you need to be doing is focusing on the outcomes. And here's how you do this. First is highlight the pain that the client is having. Okay? If the client is a criminal client, for instance, and they have been charged with a crime, let's say, highlight all the different issues that they're facing, all the fears, the emotions that they're looking at. Because remember, we make decisions based on our emotions. And so you really want to hit up those emotions and play up the emotions that the person is feeling. And then once you've done that, then you present yourself as the solution. Present yourself as someone who can help and remove that fear, remove that pain. Because really that's what it's all about, is for clients. It's about removing pain. And in this case, the pain is the fact that they have been charged with a crime and the uncertainties and the possible consequences and things like that. So let me give you another example of how you can kind of use this focus on pain and on outcomes and solutions and things like that in your marketing. So let's say that you do personal injury work and you help people that are in car accidents get recovery, get money for their injuries and things. So you may say something in your marketing, and this could be on a website or on a blog, or you could talk about this social media, wherever. But you may say something like, if you've been in a car accident, it can be a very stressful time. Probably one of the most stressful times you will ever experience in your life. One moment you were in your car driving home from work or school, or maybe a kid's ball practice, and the next moment your world was turned upside down. You went from everything being fine and great to sitting in a hospital bed, to pain, suffering that you're going through, physical and emotional pain and suffering, hospital stays, procedures, surgeries, treatments, doctors. Not knowing whether your life is going to be the same as it was before, if the pain and the injuries that you're sustained, you'll be able to fully heal from. And maybe you're sitting in the hospital bed right now, or you're home recovering, or trying to recover right now, and you're worrying about the work that you've missed, and you worry about the hospital bills and the costs of all the treatments and the procedures, the tests that you've received for this, all because another car went left of center. And again, we understand this can be a very, very stressful time, and this really should be a time where you should be focusing on yourself, because that's what's really most important here, is focusing on you, focusing on your health, focusing on your healing, not worrying about how am I going to pay for this, these medical procedures, how am I going to pay for the hospital bills, for my own bills, not being able to the work you've missed because of your injuries. How am I going to be able to pay for this stuff? How am I going to deal with the insurance companies who only appear that even though you are paying your premiums, it only seems that they're really out for themselves. This is a lot going on, and really you should be at home focusing on your recovery. And so we get that, and we want to help. We've done this. We have helped hundreds of other clients in situations just like your own, where one moment things were going great, and the next minute the actions of someone else changed their lives forever, and they started to look at the pain, the suffering they're going through, the medical bills, insurance claims, replacing their vehicles, all those kind of situations. And we've helped them by stepping in and taking care of all that for them. We've taken care of working with the insurance companies and making sure that they get the compensation that they deserve to cover their expenses, and so they don't have to worry about that, so that they can focus on healing. And that's what we want to be able to do for you. We want to allow you to focus on your healing and you being a full recovery. Now, if you heard that, and again, I just kind of made that up on the fly, but I focused on the pain, all the emotions and things that they would be facing, the mental, the physical pain, the dealing with hospitals, with bills, missing work, all these things that are probably going through someone's mind when they've been in a car accident, and then coming across as being the solution. That there's a lot of stuff out there you're dealing with right now, and we want to take that off your plate. We want to come and we will deal with the insurance companies for you. We will make sure that you get your medical bills paid and everything else, that your house expenses, all this stuff gets taken care of. We will handle that for you so that you can do what's most important for you to be doing right now, and that is resting and healing. We're focusing on your health. And if you're a client, that's what you want to see. That's the kind of thing that's going to hit you emotionally. Again, you don't make decisions. People don't make decisions based on thinking, on the cognitive, logical reasoning they do. They make it based on those decisions and on the emotions, And if you can get to those emotions and have them feel those things and a promise to take those away, then you're going to make the sale. So hopefully that is a good example, or kind of give you some ideas of what to do, so that you stop trying to sell time, but instead sell solutions. Sell yourself as a solution to the problem a client is currently facing. All right, so the takeaway for today is that clients don't buy your time or what you do. Those are inputs. They don't care about any of that. What clients do buy is the solution that you can provide them. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening today. If you haven't already, please head over to iTunes or your favorite podcast provider and subscribe. That way you get to hear the notifications whenever we put out new episodes. If you found this beneficial, if you found one of our previous episodes beneficial, please I would really appreciate it if you could go and leave a great review for me. The way the algorithms and things like that work, the more 5-star reviews, positive reviews that the podcast gets, the more that the services and things, Apple or whatnot, will show it to other people and make it easier for them to find. So if you found it value, I'm sure other ones will be able to will as well. And so I would appreciate you if you do that. All right. Well, thanks again, and I will talk to you guys next time.